Hi guys, so welcome to the 14th day of this training, right? So we have been on for the last 13 days, right? Back to back every day, and today is the 14th day. So if you have not gone through the last videos, if you've not gone through the last videos, please do want to go through those videos. Those videos would help you um to have a better understanding of what we're doing here, because all we are doing here is a build up on the previous lesson, right? So if you have not subscribed to this channel, you have not liked this video, please do want to use this moment to subscribe, because when you subscribe, you get notifications when I drop new videos, right? You know when I drop new videos, and also it helps me, know those that are really enjoy the videos which we give out, because I went through um my analytics, and I found out that the people that watch my videos, most of them are not subscribed, right? About 48.6% are not subscribed. That means almost half of you are not subscribed, right? So just do it to help me, click on the subscribe button, and, so you can get, more, notifications and all of that, right? So I've been on a journey to mastery, right? These teachings are teachings that I believe that you should really take your time to study, because they're going to really help you in the long run. I'm always seeing testimonies from people sending me DMs, thank you for explaining this, thank you for explaining that, and all of that, right? The financial market is big enough, to make money, right? I had to do this teaching because I am aware that there are some of you that cannot, afford paid mentorship, right? I have a paid mentorship group, and some of you can't afford it, even though it's not that expensive, but some people can afford it, and some people simply don't want to pay. So we're just doing it so that everyone can get carried along, right? Even if you don't want to pay your, whatever it is, right? No matter what it is, um, you can still, do something. You can still learn something, all right? So let's really understand what we're doing. So today we're going to be going through one of my repertoire, right? Something I call the um institutional candle, right? This is something I learned from my mentor, and also learned it from a lot of my mentor's mentor, right? So this is a concept of institutional candles, right? Some people call it a few candles, some people call it institutional funded candles, right? So these are specific kinds of candles, right? So they call them institutional candles, or government institutional funded candles, right? So um so this is it. So these are very, very important candles, right? They are candles that we use as our our POI and our entry, right? So you can use this candle as what your POI, and I can also use that what your lower time frame entry. So it serves two purposes. So you can use that what a POI on the higher time frame, and you can also use that what a lower time frame entry, your lower time frame entry. So you can use it as your lower time frame entry and your higher time frame POI. So it serves two functions. So if you're looking at your higher time frame, you can use institutional candles for your, getting a trade idea. Okay, market should sell, okay, from this point, right? And then lower time frame entry, okay, market should buy, okay, I can put my limits at this point, right? So this serves two purposes, right? It serves as a higher time frame POI and the lower time frame entry, right? So it's both sides, right? Both ends. So you can use that as your entry and your POI. So what are institutional candles? So institutional candles are basically the last candles or series of candles, right? Note this. It could be a series of candles because time frames are, different, right? So it could be a series of candles, or it could be a single candle, right? So it could be a series of candles, right? Or a single candle, right? So you guys should know this. It could be a series of candles or a single candle, right? So it doesn't matter, right? The reason for this is that if you look at the 1 hour chart, right? Like now, if you look at this candle now, this candle is printing now, right? this candle exponential here, this is the 15 minutes time frame, right? This might be one candle in 15 minutes. But if you go to, let's say, the if you go to if you go to maybe the 3 minutes, you know that this 15 minutes candle can be three or four candles, right? So that is basically what we mean. So institutional candles can be series of candles or one candle. So just have to understand what it does, right? It's not, it doesn't matter whether you get the exact candle, right? Sometimes this is the mistake that a lot of you make. A lot of you want to capture the last candle and then you miss the trade, not knowing that a candle on a time frame might be a series of candles on a lower time frame, right? So you always do what to examine whenever you're taking your trades. Always go through different time frames, right? There's no point um there's no point going through one candle because some people will be like one time frame, one setup, one all those cliche you know quotes that do not make any sense, right? So, in my opinion, you need to go through different time frames. If you're doing analysis, you should go through different time frames, right? If you maybe want to buy, you look at okay, maybe if I want to let's say maybe I want to sell this market now, right? Okay, now I'm seeing that I have what? Okay, I'm seeing that I have what? An order block here, right? So what do? I can go to the lower time frame to confirm if this other block is really legit or there's something else I can see inside this 15 minutes time frame. I can also go to the 30 minutes chart and check what is going on. I can go to the 1 hour and then confirm what is going on. So it's always good to go through different time frames so that you can have a better understanding of what market is doing. Because sometimes something might be looking good on the time frame, meanwhile on the high time frame, it is not the case. Right. So always go through different time frames so you can be able to get a better understanding of what you're doing, right? So now institutional candles are simply what? Those candles that clear liquidity before reversing price, right? So this is basically what it does, right? It clears liquidity, and then it reverse price. So this is a very simple concept, very, very simple concept. It's not difficult to understand, right? It's just what it kind of clears liquidity and then reverses price to the opposite direction, right? That was we could refer to as what institutional candles, right? So this is a bearish example. Right, that's last candle or series of candles that clears liquidity, right? And then what reverses price the opposite direction. So we usually see what the market structure shifts. Market will go below this low, and then what do you expect in the future? So market can do something like this, then come back to that candle, right? So this is basically what we like to see. So you cannot extend that candle in future. Can I extend the candle to the future? And then this is a candle. So you can extend to the future and then you take your trade. Right. And the two ways to take your trade on this are either at the open of a candle, either you play at the open or the 50%. So those are the two ways to take your trade, either the open or the 50%. Open or 50%, right? So open or 50% are the two ways which you take your entry. So open or 50%. So open or 50%. So, so those are the two ways to take your trade. So if this is a lower time frame, you are taking your limit at the open or at the 50%, right? And of course, the stop loss should be above the high. So it's a very, very simple trade strategy. Very, very simple. There's no complication in it, nothing too big. Just take your trade there, nice up, open at 50%. And of course, if it's a lower time, this has to be on the lower time frame, right? So open at 50%, you take a this is just a very, very simple trading model. No, there is no ambiguity to this. There is no ambiguity at all. No ambiguity, right? There's no ambiguity when it comes to this concept. No ambiguity. There's nothing, there's no rocket science in it. Nothing, no rocket science. It's just very straightforward. That's why I like it. It's very straightforward. Right? It's just very straightforward. All right. So that is basically how you trade that. It's very, very straightforward. All right, very straightforward. All right, so try to get snapshots for the thumbnail. All right, so it's very, very straightforward. So that is it. So now if you see it on the higher time frame now, if it's on the higher time frame, of course you wouldn't just take your trade like that. If it's on the higher time frame now, what do? You wait for price to do what? To give you what? A lower time frame confirmation. Maybe whatever confirmation that you use. For me, I like to use structural confirmation, right? So this is what I like to see. So I like to see markets, give us structural confirmation on the lower time frame, right? So this time becomes what your criteria for what's your entry, right? So it depends on your time frame. So if it's on a higher time frame, a higher time frame like a daily chart, a 4 hour chart, you should know that anything from 4 hour and above is higher time frame, right? So 4 hour, daily, weekly, 8 hour, 2 hour, those are all, 4 hour and above are what I refer to as higher time frame, right? So it's not good to take a trade directly on the 4 hour chart. It's always good to wait for a lower time frame confirmation, all right? So or even a 1 hour too, it's not sometimes it's not always good, but some people do it. But me personally, I can only take trades from 30 minutes and below. Like that is directly. Personally, most times my entries on the 15 minutes and 5 minutes. So 30 minutes is very rare cases. If it's 1 hour, I always like to wait for confirmations, right? I don't like ending trades on the higher time frame POI. I like to wait for confirmations. But if you're a swing trader or someone that likes to hold trade for a long time, because if you use 1 hour, obviously you have to hold the trade for a long time. So for someone that doesn't like that kind of trade, right, you might want to wait for a lower time frame confirmation, right? And the reason why I don't wait for it, the reason why I don't use higher time frame, is because of news. Because you might be holding your trade and then news catches up with you, right? Or you meet the midnight spread. I don't want swap and all those things. So I don't like holding trades into a new day because of swap, news, all those stuffs, right? So I just like trades that I can, enter and in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, I'm done. Right? I think 6 hours is usually the highest I hold trades, highest 6 hours or 7 hours. All right. So that's basically how I approach this, right? So for you, you might want to, if you're a swing trader, of course, you might not need, if you're a swing trader, of course, you might not need to wait for this confirmation. You can also even take a trade and directly and then put your stop loss and then wait for 1 or 2 weeks for market to go to your take profits, right? So that is basically, and then one thing you should notice that price does not move in a linear fashion. That means just because you got your trade there doesn't mean that this is what many people don't understand. Just because you got your entry doesn't mean that price is going to just go to a tip you take directly. No, it's going to take time, right? Sometimes price I do a lot of funny things. Market can also, you can hit your POI, then it will do as if it wants to buy again, then it will push above again, and then come down, then do something like this before going for take profit. So the market does this kind of thing. So you have to be very, very patient. So this is your take profit, right? But price can do this kind of thing to come down, push up, come very close to stop loss, reverse, you have to hold it. So whenever you're in a trade, make sure your stop loss is placed at a specific point. Don't move your stop loss. Once you place your stop loss at the high there, don't move your stop loss. Allow the trade to pan out, right? Just hold it. I don't move your stop loss. Or you can take profit along the way. Maybe if you go 1:2, 1:3, you can take partials and all of that. But don't move your stop loss whenever you're in a trade. As long as the market has not hit your take profit, hold your trade, right? Don't unless maybe you have a reason, maybe market should not go your way. Maybe you're seeing something in the higher time frame or something. Maybe market bounced, or maybe market bounced on a key level around there, or something of that sort. Maybe something news or something that you believe that might make price to go against you. Right? That's the only scenario where you have to close your trade before it hits your take profits. Right? But if that does not happen, then you have to wait. All right, so that is basically how it's done, right? So market does all those kind of things, right? So now for a bearish example, let's talk about a bullish example. So this is a bearish example, of course. So let's just do a bullish example below, right? Let's do a bullish example below. So for a bullish example, it's just the reverse, right? So that means when price is giving us that bullish, it gives us that bullish stuff. We have our bullish institutional candle, and then we have our institutional candle, right? So we have an institutional candle here. It grabs liquidity and then moves price to the upward direction, right? So you have your institutional candle. Right, sorry for that. All right, sorry for that. My network has been acting up. So um, for a bullish example, we have this, just the reverse. Um, you see that, and then you extend it to the future. So you extend it to the future, just the same thing you did for a bearish example. So you have your 50%, you mark it out and all of that. So you have it there. Um, so once you extend that, you have a 50%. So if it's in a higher time frame, of course, you have to wait for confirmations, right? So in a higher time frame, wait for what? Confirmations, right? Wait for confirmations there, right? But if it's on a lower time frame, you can just take it directly, right? And then you target what the new high. So this will be your take profit, this high here, right? And of course, that is what you do. So, or you can take partials there. This is a previous high. So it might act like a kind of resistance level. So you can take maybe partials at this old high here, and then overall at this. But usually I usually go for what the new high, right? So this time it comes with a take profits, right? So this is basically what you do, right? So that institutional candle becomes what a point of interest. And of course, if it's on the lower time frame, like I told you guys, if it's on the lower time frame, it's on the higher time frame, you have to wait for price to give you what that bullish confirmation. And of course, you can have different confirmations, right? If you use candlestick patterns, maybe an engulfing candle, that can be your confirmation. Um, if you use something else, maybe those kind of stuffs, bullish engulfing candle, doji, all those confirmations, rejection candles, whatever you use as a confirmation, you can use it, right? So I'm not here to force you to one mode, right? Whatever you do that you see consistency in, you're very free to use it, right? So let's look at examples if you can see some. All right, so this is a very clear example of an institutional candle, right? So this is you can see this big candle that clear liquidity and then push price to the upside, right? So you can see how price came back, to hit this inducement, and then what happened? We hit our institutional candle, yeah. So this is a 4-hour chart, right? You can see 4-hour institutional candle there. So can you see it? So of course you can't take trade on the 4-hour chart like this because your stop loss will be very wide. This is a 4-hour chart. From this point here, you can see that the stop loss will be so much for you to handle. If you put your limit here down here, you see that you're risking about 72 pips or 73 pips approximately. Okay, about 76 pips. So are you going to be risking 76 pips on a single trade? No. You can look for what lower time frame confirmations on this. So that's how you trade it, so you don't be caught up, right? That's basically how you trade it. So you don't have to be holding trades for so long. All right. So that is basically a very good example of it, right? Now look at another example here. I told you guys that sometimes a series of candles. So I look at markets, this saw this bush down. Now you can start in this case here, we had two candles, right? So these were two candles. Today it can be a single candle, a series of candles. You can see in this case it was a series of candles, right? It mustn't always be the last candle because you can see that this move started here. This move that pushed price above this liquidity, started somewhere around this. So it can be single moves or sometimes it can be double candles, right? It's not always a single candle. So it can be double candles that gives you what that institutional candle you're looking for. Now look at another institutional candle. Although price did not come back here, but this is a very good example of an institutional candle. You can see this last candle, a clear liquidity, and then what push price to the upside, right? So price never came back. Maybe in the future will come back there. So this is another example of an institutional candle for a bullish example. So that is basically how this is print, right? It prints this way, right? So look at another one here. You can see this big candle. You can see how this candle created, it pushed above. Can you see how this candle do what? Pushed above this previous high and then was broke to the downside. So you can see how price came back institutional candle before them was going down. So you can see he pushed above these previous candles, took out liquidity for the previous candles, and that was reversed to the downside, right? That was the effect that was institutional candles. Right? Look at another one here. You can see how this big candle did was. You can see this big candle, how it's pushed above, right? This is where the move started somewhere around there. So that's where the move started. So the move started, you can see this candle pushed above what this previous high. You can see this previous high here. There's a previous high resting here. Like kind of previous high was resting here. You can see this series of candle move started there, pushed above and the market came back, retested it, and then will drop to the downside, right? So in these cases, you have to wait for what lower time frame confirmation. Look at another one here. This is a candle. So although price has not come back there, so this is a series of candles. Always just target the whole move, right? The whole move that grab liquidity and then reverse price to the opposite direction, right? Look at another one here. Last down candle. You can see how this candle was swaps liquidity before pushing price to the upside, right? This is what's called a square candle. While although price kind of breached it, you can see the reaction there. Can you see the reaction? Can you see how price reacted on it? Although you kind of breached, but you can see the reaction there, right? So always make sure that this is why you have to wait for confirmation. So imagine that you took your buy now, the rest at this point. You can say you have taken a loss. And that's why it's always best that you wait for what the market to give you what a confirmation because higher time frames can be a lie. Because now imagine you took this trade, you have been holding this trade for a lot of time, right? That's why I don't like holding this kind of trades. You can see I've had this for almost 3 days before market took you out. So you'll be holding a losing trade for 3 days. After 3 days, it takes you out. So that's why it's always best that you wait for lower time frame confirmations because lower time frame confirmation saves you this kind of stress. Imagine holding a trade for 3 days and it finally hits your stop loss. Imagine how you will feel. So that's why personally I like to wait for confirmations on the lower time frame so that I can filter out this. Right. So that's why I always wait for a lower lower time frame confirmation, right? Now look at the lower time frame entry here. You can see this 15 minutes order block. You can see market pushed above liquidity before breaking down. This was a very, very clear example of a 15 minutes chart. So if you just extend this will be your entry at this other block there. Very simple trade, no biggie. Enter the stop loss above the high, then you have lost held to what? Take profits, right? Although it has been a while, but you can see it. Look at that example here. You can see the market this kind of push above liquidity and then broke down. So you can see price came back into this candle, right? You can see another this is a 15 minute chart. So you can take a trade of this one. So you can take either this candle, right? That's the last candle I can see, or you can take the whole move, right? It's up to you. So it's up to you really. So you can take this whole move, right? And then maybe do 50% of it. You can say, okay, 50% of this move. Like I told you guys, I know 50% of it. I'm entering somewhere around 50% here because it's a very big candle. So you can put your 50% around there. So it has been a very clean trade, and you can see how it panned out nicely. Right. So that is basically how this is operates. Right. So that is it. Look at that example here. Sooner candle, you can see this last candle at clear liquidity. You can see that price came back into the candle. And you can see what this impulsive buy to the upside. Right. This is how these things print. It prints like this or repeat. Right. So you have to always consider the trend, structure, and all of that. Right. So I want you guys to do a simple assignment for me. So go to this chart, go to NAS 100 and go to NASDAQ, right? So S is an index. So locate what? Two bullish examples and two bearish examples. So two for bullish and two for bearish, right? So two bullish examples and two bearish examples, right? And then just identify it. Just identify two bullish examples and two bearish examples, right? So remember, you can use this strategy for your entry and your POI. So it's two ways, either POI or entry, POI or entry. So if it's on the lower time frames for your entry, if it's on the higher time frames for your POI, right? So I'd love to see you guys in tomorrow's session. Do want to subscribe, like this video. Have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow. Cheers and God bless.